Hey, Trending Updates fans. Welcome back to another episode of our channel, where we bring you the hottest topics and the coolest insights. Today, we're going to talk about something that might make you feel a little guilty: 15 books that everyone claims they have read but haven't. Yes, we know, we've all been there. You want to impress someone with your literary knowledge, or you want to fit in with a book club, or you just don't want to admit that you skipped that classic in high school. But don't worry, we're not here to judge. We're here to spill the tea on the most common books that people lie about reading. Let's get started. The first book on our list is War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. This is the ultimate book to pretend you have read, because it's so long and so famous that no one will question you. But let's be honest, how many of us have actually finished this 1,200-page epic of Russian history and philosophy? Unless you're a hardcore fan of Tolstoy, chances are you gave up after a few chapters or just watched the movie instead. This book is not only a challenge for its length, but also for its complexity and depth. It covers the Napoleonic Wars, the lives of dozens of characters, and the big questions of life and death. It's a masterpiece of literature, but also a test of patience and endurance. The second book on our list is Ulysses by James Joyce. Another classic that is notorious for being difficult and dense, Ulysses is a masterpiece of modern literature that explores the life of an ordinary man in Dublin on a single day. But it's also full of obscure references, experimental techniques, and stream of consciousness narration that can make it hard to follow. No wonder many people just pretend they have read it and nod along when someone mentions it. This book is not only a challenge for its style, but also for its content. It deals with themes such as sexuality, religion, identity, and art in a way that is often controversial and provocative. It's a landmark of literature, but also a source of frustration and confusion. The third book on our list is The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. This is one of those books that everyone is supposed to read in high school, but many people either skip it or forget it as soon as they finish it. The story of a rebellious teenager who wanders around New York City after being expelled from his prep school is often considered a classic of American literature and a symbol of youth alienation. But some people find it boring, annoying, or outdated, and would rather not admit it. This book is not only a challenge for its tone, but also for its relevance. It reflects the values and attitudes of a specific time and place that may not resonate with everyone. It's a cult favorite of literature, but also a target of criticism and controversy. The fourth book on our list is The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. This is one of the most popular and influential fantasy series of all time, and many people love it for its rich world building, epic adventure, and memorable characters. But it's also very long, very detailed, and very slow-paced at times, which can make it hard to finish for some readers. Especially if they have already seen the movies and know what happens. This book is not only a challenge for its size, but also for its scope. It creates a whole new universe with its own history, languages, cultures, and races that can be overwhelming and daunting for some readers. It's a masterpiece of imagination, but also a test of attention and dedication. The fifth book on our list is Moby Dick by Herman Melville. This is another book that everyone knows by its title and its main character, the white whale that obsesses Captain Ahab and leads him to his doom. But how many people have actually read the whole book, which is full of digressions, descriptions, and symbolism that can make it seem like a chore? Not many, we bet. This book is not only a challenge for its length, but also for its depth. It explores the themes of obsession, revenge, fate, and nature in a way that is often philosophical and poetic. It's a classic of literature, but also a bore for some readers. The sixth book on our list is Infinite Jest by David Foster Wallace. This is one of the most acclaimed and challenging novels of the 20th century, a sprawling satire of American culture that spans over 1,000 pages and features hundreds of characters, footnotes, endnotes, and multiple plot lines. It's also one of the most intimidating and daunting books to read, which is why many people just claim they have read it without actually doing so. This book is not only a challenge for its structure, but also for its meaning. It deals with themes such as addiction, entertainment, depression, and irony in a way that is often complex and ambiguous. It's a masterpiece of literature, but also a puzzle for some readers. The seventh book on our list is the Bible. This might be the most controversial book on this list, but also the most truthful one. The Bible is the best-selling and most widely distributed book in history, and millions of people consider it to be the Word of God and the source of their faith. But how many people have actually read it from cover to cover, or even understood everything they read? Not many, we suspect. This book is not only a challenge for its length, but also for its diversity. It contains different genres, styles, authors, and perspectives that span thousands of years and cultures. It's a sacred text, but also a complex one. The eighth book on our list is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. This is one of the most beloved and popular novels of all time, a witty and romantic comedy of manners that follows the love story of Elizabeth Bennet and Mr. Darcy in 19th century England. But it's also one of the most misrepresented and misunderstood books in history, as many people think it's just a simple romance novel or a chick-lit book without appreciating its social commentary, humor, and style. This book is not only a challenge for its genre, but also for its subtlety. It reveals the flaws and follies of human nature and society in a way that is often ironic and satirical. It's a classic of literature, but also a surprise for some readers. The ninth book on our list is the Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown. This is one of the most successful and controversial novels of the 21st century, a thriller that mixes historical facts, conspiracy theories, and religious mysteries in a fast-paced plot that keeps readers hooked until the end. But it's also one of the most criticized and ridiculed books in history, as many people find it poorly written, inaccurate, or offensive. This book is not only a challenge for its quality, but also for its credibility. It claims to be based on real research and evidence, but it also contains many errors and exaggerations that can mislead or anger some readers. It's a bestseller of literature, but also a scandal for some readers. The 10th book on our list is 50 Shades of Grey by E.L. James. This is one of the most sensational and scandalous novels of recent years, a steamy romance that follows the relationship between a young college student and a billionaire businessman with a penchant for BDSM. But it's also one of the most embarrassing and guilty pleasure books in history, as many people don't want to admit that they have read it or enjoyed it. This book is not only a challenge for its content, but also for its reputation. It exposes the fantasies and desires of many people, but it also faces the criticism and mockery of many others. It's a phenomenon of literature, but also a taboo for some readers. The 11th book on our list is The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams. This is one of the most hilarious and inventive sci-fi novels of all time, a comedy that follows the adventures of a hapless human who escapes the destruction of Earth with the help of an alien friend and a guidebook that contains everything you need to know about the universe. But it's also one of the most quirky and absurd books in history, as many people don't get its humor or its references. This book is not only a challenge for its genre, but also for its logic. It defies the rules and expectations of conventional storytelling in a way that is often nonsensical and random. It's a gem of literature, but also a puzzle for some readers. The 12th book on our list is The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo by Stieg Larsson. This is one of the most gripping and thrilling novels of the 21st century, a crime story that follows a journalist and a hacker who team up to solve a decades-old mystery involving a wealthy family and a serial killer. But it's also one of the most violent and graphic books in history, as many people find it too disturbing or gruesome to read. This book is not only a challenge for its plot, but also for its tone. It exposes the dark and brutal side of human nature and society in a way that is often shocking and horrifying. It's a masterpiece of literature, but also a nightmare for some readers. The 13th book on our list is 1984, the dystopian masterpiece that depicts a totalitarian society where Big Brother is watching your every move, and where language, history, and truth are constantly manipulated by the ruling party. This novel is widely regarded as one of the most influential works of the 20th century, and has inspired countless adaptations, parodies, and references in various media. However, despite its popularity and relevance, many people who claim to have read it actually haven't, or have only skimmed through it without fully understanding its message and implications. Some of the reasons why people might avoid reading this book are: it's too depressing, too complex, too boring, or too outdated. But we think that these are not valid excuses to miss out on this brilliant and important novel. Reading 1984 will not only enrich your literary knowledge, but also challenge your critical thinking and awareness of the world around you. The 14th book on our list, we have 100 Years of Solitude, the epic saga that chronicles the rise and fall of the mythical town of Macondo and the Buendia family over 7 generations. This novel is considered one of the masterpieces of magical realism, a genre that blends realistic and fantastical elements to create a unique and captivating narrative. The author, Gabriel Garcia Marquez, won the Nobel Prize in Literature for his contribution to world literature with this and other works. However, despite its acclaim and influence, many people who claim to have read it actually haven't, or have only read parts of it without grasping its full scope and meaning. Some of the reasons why people might avoid reading this book are: it's too long, too confusing, too repetitive, or too foreign. But we think that these are not valid excuses to miss out on this amazing and enchanting novel. Reading 100 Years of Solitude will not only expand your literary horizons, but also immerse you in a rich and colorful world of magic and history. Finally, we have The Great Gatsby, the quintessential American novel that portrays the decadence and disillusionment of the Jazz Age through the eyes of Nick Carraway, who observes the tragic love story between Jay Gatsby and Daisy Buchanan. This novel is widely regarded as one of the greatest works of American literature, and has inspired numerous adaptations, interpretations, and references in various media. However, despite its popularity and significance, many people who claim to have read it actually haven't, or have only read it superficially without appreciating its depth and beauty. Some of the reasons why people might avoid reading this book are: it's too short, too simple, too superficial, or too old-fashioned. But we think that these are not valid excuses to miss out on this wonderful and elegant novel. Reading The Great Gatsby will not only enhance your literary taste, but also expose you to a timeless and universal story of love and loss. So there you have it. These are the books that everyone claims they have read but haven't. We hope that this episode has inspired you to pick up these books and give them a try. Trust us, you won't regret it. And if you have already read them, let us know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more trending updates.